The idea of climbing the mountain came to me on a quiet afternoon when I was staring at its distant silhouette from my window, its peak cut sharply into the sky, crowned with mist that rolled like an ocean of clouds. For months, my friend and I had been competing in small challenges, races, strategy games, endurance tests. But this time, I wanted something greater, something that would demand not just strength, but patience, courage, and resilience. So I turned to my friend with a grin and said, "I challenge you to climb that mountain with me." At first, he laughed, thinking I was joking. But when he saw the determination in my eyes, his laughter faded. "Are you serious? That's not just a hill. That's a real mountain. It's steep, rocky, and unpredictable." "Yes," I replied. "That's why it's the perfect challenge. No shortcuts, no excuses, just us, the path, and the peak." We planned carefully. Maps spread across the table, gear stacked in piles, and strategies written in notebooks. We knew it wouldn't be easy. The climb would test our endurance, our teamwork, and our willpower. But that was the essence of the challenge. The morning of the climb arrived. The sky was a blend of gold and soft blue as the sun rose. We strapped on our backpacks, tightened our boots, and set off toward the trail. The air was fresh, scented with pine and earth, and the mountain stood before us like a giant guardian daring us to proceed. The first stretch was gentle, winding through a forest alive with birdsong. We joked, shared stories, and felt the thrill of the adventure. But as the path grew steeper, the laughter faded, replaced by the sound of heavy breathing and boots scraping against rock. My friend looked at me, sweat dripping down his face. "Still think this was a good idea?" "Better than ever," I said, though my legs were already burning. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, and the trail became rougher. Loose stones slid beneath our feet. Every step demanded focus. My friend stumbled once, catching himself on a tree root. I pulled him up, and he muttered, "Thanks." "Oh, you won." "That's what climbing partners are for," I replied. But the challenge wasn't just physical. The higher we climbed, the thinner the air became. Our breaths grew shallow, our energy drained faster, and silence often replaced words. Doubt crept into our minds. Was the peak worth the pain? Could we really make it? When we reached a narrow ridge, the wind howled like a wild animal, trying to push us off balance. My friend hesitated, staring at the drop on either side. Fear shadowed his face. I don't know if I can do this. I placed a hand on his shoulder. "Remember, this isn't just about strength. It's about proving to ourselves that we can push beyond limits, one step at a time." Together, we crossed slowly, carefully, never looking down. And when we finally set foot on stable ground again, my friend let out a shaky laugh. "That was insane. But we did it." The final ascent was the hardest. Our muscles screamed, our throats were dry, and our bodies begged us to stop. But the sight of the summit pulled us forward. Every step became a battle, but with each one, we grew closer to victory. At last, we reached the peak. The world unfolded beneath us, valleys, rivers, forests, and distant villages, all bathed in sunlight. The sky above was so close it felt like we could touch it. We stood there, side by side, exhausted but triumphant. My friend turned to me, his face breaking into a smile. You were right. This was the ultimate challenge. And we conquered it, I replied. In that moment, the mountain wasn't just stone and earth. It was a symbol of our determination, our friendship, and our refusal to quit. We had challenged each other, but more importantly, we had challenged ourselves and we won. As we began the long descent, I knew one thing for certain. This climb would live in our memories forever. Not just as a test of strength, but as proof that together we could overcome anything. Reaching the summit felt like victory, but little did we realize the descent would be an even greater test. Many climbers say the real danger lies not in reaching the top, but in finding your way back down safely. As we stood catching our breath on the peak, a strong gust of wind reminded us that the mountain wasn't finished with us yet. We took a final look at the breathtaking view. The horizon stretched endlessly, rivers like silver threads glistening in the sunlight, villages scattered like tiny dots, and clouds floating below us. My friend exhaled slowly, his chest heaving. Going up was tough, but going down, that's going to be a different kind of battle. He was right. The path back was steep and unforgiving. Our legs already worn from the climb. Every step downward required more balance than going up. Rocks shifted under our boots, and loose gravel slid like marbles beneath our soles. Careful, I warned. One wrong move, and you'll be tumbling faster than you can shout for help. We moved cautiously, side by side, sometimes leaning on each other for support. The adrenaline of victory had faded, replaced by the quiet determination to return safely. By midday, the sky darkened unexpectedly. Thick clouds rolled in, swallowing the sunlight. My friend frowned. That wasn't in the forecast. The mountain, it seemed, had decided to throw us another challenge. Soon, droplets of rain splattered on our jackets, and within minutes, it turned into a steady downpour. The trail transformed into a slick, muddy slope. The rocks glistened, treacherous and slippery. Great, my friend muttered, as if this wasn't hard enough. But there was no choice. We tightened our packs, pulled up our hoods, and pressed on. Every step became a test of patience. At times, we had to crawl on all fours, gripping roots and stones to prevent sliding. Once, my friend slipped badly, his leg dangling dangerously over the edge of a drop. My heart raced as I grabbed his arm, pulling him back with all the strength I had. He panted heavily, shaken. That was too close. Stay focused, I said firmly. We're not leaving this mountain with regrets. Hours passed, and the rain finally eased, but the damage was done. The trail had turned into a maze of mud and small streams. Our boots squelched with every step, and fatigue clawed at us. Yet, there was a strange rhythm to it. A quiet reminder that every journey isn't just about conquering the peak, but also enduring the return. As dusk approached, we reached a small plateau where we decided to rest. We built a modest fire with damp wood, coaxing the flames to life with stubborn persistence. Sitting by the fire, shivering slightly, we shared a protein bar in silence. Finally, my friend broke the quiet. You know, when you first challenged me, I thought you were insane. I thought this mountain would break us. And now, I asked. He smiled faintly, the firelight flickering on his tired face. Now I realize it's making us stronger, not just in body, but in spirit. I've never felt this alive. His words echoed my thoughts. The mountain wasn't just a challenge anymore, it was a teacher. It stripped us of comfort, tested our fears, and forced us to find strength we didn't know we had. The next morning, we resumed our descent. The air was crisp, and the storm had left the forest glistening with dew. Birds sang again, and shafts of sunlight pierced through the mist. It felt like the mountain was rewarding us for our perseverance. But one final obstacle awaited near the base. The trail crossed a fast-flowing stream swollen from the rain. The stones we had easily hopped across during the ascent were now half submerged, slippery, and dangerous. "We can't go around," my friend said grimly, scanning the banks. "We have to cross here." We tightened our gear, unbuckled the lower straps of our packs in case we fell, and stepped carefully into the stream. The water was icy, biting at our legs, and the current pushed hard against us. Each step forward was a struggle. I gritted my teeth, gripping a stick I had picked up as a makeshift staff. Halfway across, my friend lost his footing. The current yanked him sideways, pulling him downstream. Without hesitation, I lunged, grabbing his pack strap with one hand and anchoring myself with the staff. The force nearly dragged me in, too, but I held on, muscles screaming. With a desperate heave, I pulled him back toward the rocks. Soaked and gasping, he looked at me with wide eyes. You saved me again." "Climbing partners," I said, echoing my words from the day before. "Don't leave each other behind." We finally stumbled to the other side, exhausted but safe. The forest trail beyond seemed almost welcoming now. And when we reached the base of the mountain, we collapsed onto the grass, laughing breathlessly. The mountain was behind us, towering and silent, as if watching two tiny climbers who had survived its trials. My friend turned to me, his expression a mix of exhaustion and gratitude. "That was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I wouldn't have done it with anyone else." I smiled, looking back at the peak hidden in clouds. It wasn't just a challenge. It was proof that together we can overcome anything. Next time, though, maybe we pick something a little easier. He laughed, shaking his head. "Knowing you, the next challenge will be even crazier." Maybe he was right, but in that moment, sitting at the foot of the mountain we had conquered, I felt something greater than victory. The bond of friendship forged through struggle, danger, and triumph. The mountain had tested us, and together we had passed